Well, a great day for thoroughbred racing here at glorious Gulfstream Park West. Jason Blewett, Ron Nicoletti joining you here. Good Saturday morning. Hope you're starting your weekend off on the right foot. And we've got some ground to cover today, my friend. 10 races.
10 races, and Rainbow Six, they didn't hit it yesterday, so a little over $51,000 in that pool. But, boy, that Stronach 5 continues to pay well.
Indeed, over $3,000. 20 people, 20 winning tickets shared, $3,138 a piece. Best part is, and of course that Golden Gate Fields race wasn't all because they canceled their card. I hope Golden Gate is back in action today, but we'll do it again next Friday with a guaranteed pool of $50,000 and that 12% takeout. The show, however, rolls ahead on this Saturday, November 17th, and can you believe it? Just 6 full cards remain, including today's program, before we shift on over to Gulfstream Park just 2 weeks from today on Saturday, December 1st. No carryover in the Super High Five, and there's only one key carryover on today's card. So a little High Five action and the early Pick 5 in your Saturday first, and we're starting to pick up some steam, my friend, in this Rainbow Six.
Yeah, as we mentioned, about $51,000 plus in the pool, so it's starting to rocket forward. Might even get $100,000 in there today, and that, of course, is the final 6 races on the card, and the final 5 races, of course, the ever-popular late Pick 5.
Be giving out a ticket in that. The highlight on this card is race 7, in my humble estimation. There were, I think, 5 or 6 scratches. 5 scratches out of that race. So the complexion has changed a bit, but good-looking cast of 2-year-old maidens. They will, however, not play part in this early Pick 5. They are definitely the anchor in the Rainbow Six and the late 5. This sequence, though, Ronnie, from race 3 on down through race 5, Jorge Navarro, Jorge Navarro, Jorge Navarro. That almost sounds, when I was writing it out earlier today, like a law firm. Give us a call. Navarro, Navarro, and Navarro. We're standing by.
Well, I would have Navarro's service because Jason Service starting his horse in there today in race number 3.
Yes, that is a race on 3 deep because you've got Zerpa off the claim on the rail, Jason Service with a new claim, and then the Jorge Navarro horse. George, in fact, sends out my single in Sweet Caden in the 5th race as that horse comes in from Penn National. Sweet Caden might be sweet. She's probably, or he's probably, a little broke as well. He's been a beaten favorite in 4 starts to date, but I believe has found the right field. So there we go, a $12 play to start things out. We've got Jorge Navarro. We've also got a Ben in the mix, and that is There Goes Ben in the first race. And I'm always under the impression that every race has a story to tell, and that's one of the beauties of the game. This race, to me, though, Ronnie, what I walked away with after looking at the PPs, this is a real great representation, I think, of some of the talented female training contingent we have here year-round in South Florida. When you look at Lily Curtin, it's Tammy Levy, Jessica Campitelli, and Jillian Andreasen, who all have live horses in this first race. And in fact, speaking of Lily, here is her one horse, There Goes Ben, who went right to the winner's circle last time out. Amazing what a change of scenery, a drop in class can do for a horse who had gone off form so drastically and severely in the Big Apple. And a good ride from Hector Berrios, the number 4 horse, who's widest of all, essentially, and starting to roll with that white cap.
Yeah, I was really impressed with this performance shipping in, and Lily Curtin is having a really good week. She has a couple of winners this week, so I think this was the horse to beat. I was really impressed with this horse shipping in, new course, didn't have a problem with it, and won very handily. So I had that one on top of my ticket along with you.
Number 5, Southern Cal for you in the 2nd spot. However, it's all girl power for me in my exacta with Jessica's horse in the 3, Wigwam Summer, who hasn't raced in about 50 days. But boy, Salsa Jack, Squadron, Give the UK Cats, Blue Harbor, Who's Your Drama? This is a much easier spot for that runner.
Yeah, logical choice on the ticket there in 2nd. I have a little further down. I went with the 5, as you mentioned, Southern Cal. Just took the overland route, was a little wide. I think this horse is better than that. Same level and distance, maybe gets into my exacta.
Early speed was good on the main here yesterday, and that has been a prevalent theme over the last few cards. We'll see if it continues throughout today's activities in Miami Gardens as we move on to race 2 on the dirt. Got a 2 lifetime 6250 claimer, and this is a race that may feature, to me, perhaps the biggest subplot. How fast is the pace? And it's a pace that looks like it could be on the crowded side, and that might negatively affect some major players like the 4 Clear Sky and certainly the number 6, Jackson Warrior. I think you and I probably both saw the pace and saw the big drop with the 2, our top pick, Discreet Heat.
Yeah, plunging to this $6,250 level today. Shipped down from up north, and it was wide that day. Finished 7th. It was against 30 condition claimers at the distance. I like the drop. It's Dave Brady, MSCL Jaramillo handling that class relief this afternoon. Jackson Warrior, speed play. You know, he's respected. He could set or stalk the pace in there. And if he gets loose on the lead, he could be dangerous, but there is other speed that's going to look him right in the eye.
Yeah, I think this race features a very fast pace there, hopefully setting it up for the number 2, Discreet Heat, who may not be that discreet nor quiet off the far turn. Let's hope. On to the 3rd. This is a really intriguing and competitive 6250 lower level claimer on the main track, because you've got the aforementioned Gilberto Zerpa sending out one of our favorites who's gone off form in the 1 Starship Apollo. That horse is going to need a major turnaround as he comes off a 37-day layoff. You've got Jorge Navarro with the Jersey shipper, the number 6 Swagger, and let's not forget trainer Jason Service off the claim with the 5 exclusive Zip.
Yeah, and that's what I went to Jason's barn after the claim debuts locally. He ended his campaign at Monmouth with a 6-length victory. It was 10 claimers going a mile. It was on that sealed, sloppy track. Show you stat on Jason Service. First start after claim, all levels on the dirt. Solid numbers, 19 for 58, 33%. He's in the money 68% of the time, and $1.88 is the return of investment. So first off, the claim for Jason with me, and I went with Swagger in second. Navarro, he's 38% with the turf to dirt move or something like that. So those were the logical 2 for me.
And that's a horse that has run well on the main, specifically making that turf to dirt move back in early August in the slop at Monmouth Park. This is and I get it, a pivotal race for Starship Apollo, a real crossroads type affair for this horse who had danced a lot of dances and had been getting claimed by just about everybody, it seemed, here in South Florida each time they let him over. His last few, not good, and by not good, I'm looking at that race some 37 days ago when he dipped in for 62.50. Didn't get bet all that much at 3-1 and just checked in a non-threatening 4th. One more chance today. If there's somebody that may get life out of this horse off the claim, it's going to be Gilberto Zerpa.
Yeah, he drilled him with a bullet work. It's not a fast bullet work, but it's still a bullet work right over this track this afternoon. So Starship Apollo, horse I have to go back and revisit just because first I have to claim for Gilberto.
Moving on to the 4th, we are back on the turf as we go around 2 turns at this 1-mile distance. $16,000 3-and-up filly mare claimers. Once again, I think it's fair to start with Jorge Navarro, who's got Swagger, who you like a lot, and I've got in the mix in the 3rd. We've also got his horse on top here in the 6th, Paint the Corners, who's going to need to show up. This is a 16 that's pretty deep from front to back, but a good spot for this horse who's got that good positional speed.
Yeah, he's looking to strike a victory at this level in the first start since stalking the pace, finishing 4th. He was beaten about 3 lengths. It was a 30 optional claimer. It was up in New Jersey at Monmouth Park. Note the last time that this mare faced this level of competition, she defeated $16,000 claimers across town at Gulfstream Park. So puts her right in the spot where she belongs.
The 5 Me Quaima and the 1 Phoebe Carrots are both very logical. They have good barns sending them out. And for Phoebe Carrots, the hot riding Paco Lopez, who despite missing quite a few days when we moved over to Gulfstream Park West, he's just 5 wins off leading rider Edgar Zayas, 41.36, heading into the final 6 cards.
Yeah, and he took a couple of days off to go to the Breeders' Cup, you know, and he's incredible how he's been riding here all fall long.
Absolutely. As we take a little time out here on GPW today, little express bet, claiming crown, opening day at Gulfstream, all coming your way.
Whether you're at home or at the track, have a stake in the race when you bet with ExpressBet. Sign up for an ExpressBet online betting account and receive up to a $500 sign-up bonus.
There's already a permeable buzz surrounding the opening of Gulfstream Park with their and our primetime championship season just 14 days out from that claiming crown card on Saturday, December 1st. Let's try to build up the bankroll, my friend. I see you got the glasses out. The studious Ronnie is in the house. What are we doing in the rainbow?
Well, I got a good feeling about this one, so I put the old glasses on today, besides the fact I'm getting blinder and blinder each and every day.
As they say, getting old, and I should know, is not for wimps.
$51,000 plus in the pool today. Going to go with the logical 2, I thought, in the opening with the 5 School Song and the 9 Sweet Caden. Then you go to race number 6. Everybody in America is probably going to single the number 3 Flying Liberty, dropping from 16 to 8,000 for Saffie Joseph Jr. for a bond that likes to win. But I went 3 deep in there to figure that's where I can get my price. And you mentioned the 7th race today with Identifier, the 8, and the number 9 Cutting Humor from Todd Pletcher wearing the blinkers this afternoon. And then just use 2 in the 9th and 3 in the last race, 1, 5, and 6. But there's a ticket where if you have a little nerve, you could single a couple of horses in this sequence.
Absolutely. I do have, for better or for worse, the 3 Flying Liberty on top in the 6th, even though that horse has predominantly been of late a turf sprinter. And with the big drop, that horse will try to negotiate 2 turns on the turf. And look, I had some nerve here in the opening leg of the Rainbow 6, which is also the cash out, the early 5. Again, I get Sweet Caden has burned truckloads of money at 7 to 5, even money, 1 to 5, and 1 to 2. This is a good post, a good field for a new face, and the right speed rider on her back today in Edgar Zayas. One more chance.
Yeah, Sweet Caden debuting for Jorge after posting back-to-back second-place finishes. It looks like similar competition up at Penn National. We'll see. But I did go with the 5 School Song. It has his claim maiden tag. He's going to have it sliced in half this afternoon since pressing the pace. He finished 3rd. It was a 25 maiden sprint. It was on a sealed, sloppy track. Ralph Nix, Embassy Al Jaramillo named to ride today. I just went with the drop horse in here, Sweet Caden. Of course, I'm not leaving off a ticket. You saw my Rainbow 6, and I closed it out with the number 6, who you have a 3rd too, and that is Karras, who's looking for that clean trip. Steadied at the 5/8 pole prior to finishing 4th. Those are 12-5 maidens going 5.5 furlongs last time out.
Let's move on to the opening leg. Saturday's late pick 5. No late season blues here at GPW. Weather's perfect. About 70 degrees outside. We are indeed fast and firm, and firm is where it's at for this opening leg as we are on the turf. And Ronnie opted not to single the 3 Flying Liberty, nor did I. I am all inside posts all the time to start things out as we hopefully roll into the single, who before scratches, I was planning on using the 8 Identifier for Navarro coming in from Parks, and of course Todd's horse and Cutting Humor. Races changed a little bit, needless to say, with a handful of scratches. So it goes. Cutting Humor is my single for the Pletcher barn coming in for Kentucky, from Kentucky, that is. Got a couple of strong trainers in the 8th race, mainly Gustavo Delgado towards the outside, Victor Barboza Jr. with the 3 and 9. I see a ton of speed, and what may complicate things, Ronnie, in the 9th is there's a chance that the 7, who's on the play for Navarro, he could have a huge day, by the way. I mean, he is live in like 5, 6, or 7 races on the card. Band of Angels might hold a class edge. I see her, though, having to run extremely hard, and I feel that the 2, Taylor's in Orbit, is going to get a supersonic pace to close down.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one. If you're looking for the trip horse in there, it's going to be Taylor's in Orbit. Had some interest in DeLonga, too. Move it to the Monty Brisley barn. He's trying to get off the duck. Claimed that one from Georgina Baxter, so I used that one on my ticket along with the logical horses you have.
Bulky field on the main. In fact, a dozen will bring down the curtain with Saturday's nightcap. 3 deep, and maybe I'll say a couple of Hail Marys and an Our Father along the way there. I am every bit of the 6, 9, 11. You've got a different horse, though, on top, right? Did I see a number 5 horse on top for you in the nightcap?
Yeah, Valiant Appeal, who's returning to the maiden ranks. He, finished 5th in his career debut. Then they put him into a tough spot. Dave Brady, I think that's the horse to beat in the last race. So we'll see how that plays out. That's a tough race, too, to handicap.
It is, for sure. Now, the 3 Flying Liberty, this race is all about this gelding by High Cotton, who was claimed 43 days ago by Calabrese for 16. Debuts for Calabrese in his black and white silks, along with trainer Saffie Joseph. Ed is in for the 8,000. What do you want to do?
Well, I put him on top of my ticket, but as you saw in my Rainbow 6, I added the odds on the nuts. His first victory this year, 8 starts, no wins, 4 seconds, 2/3. But let's show you a stat on Saffie Joseph Jr. start after the claim, all levels. Now, this is on the turf, so put that turf in red because he's only 6 for 34. It's solid. It's 18%, 41% in the money, and $1.07 return of investment. Does much better, in my estimation, when he claims on the dirt. So that was why I did. And I just like Long Night, maybe Irish Letters, to pull a little bit of an upset there. Usually I see this, I'm sold on it. I'm just not sold on Flying Liberty.
Horse has been predominantly, again, a turf sprinter, so you do have a bit. And this horse routed in the past successfully. That was about a year ago. So you do have that question, or he has that question to answer this afternoon. Long Night and Betamax for me as well on my late pick 5 ticket from those inside posts. My favorite race on the card undoubtedly is race 7, even with the 5 defections out of this cast of 2-year-old maiden special weight runners, in which, first and foremost, we've got to talk about the 0 for 2, but with 2 respectable races under his belt, the number 9 Cutting Humor, who's making his debut here in South Florida for trainer Todd Pletcher. And I'm not going to try to talk out of both sides of my mouth here, but we do want to show you his October 7th race at Keeneland. Didn't have, per se, the smoothest of trips. He's in the yellow cap, blue sleeves of Starlight Stable. Wasn't able to save ground, and the pace at this point was on the moderate side, and I have a feeling Jose Ortiz that day said, I better get a move on it. Was not able to, say, tuck inside, did not have cover, and was clearly wide. I walked away, though, Ronnie, from watching this race, getting prepped for today's card, thinking this is an effort that looks a little bit better on paper than it was in actuality, as he, again, yellow cap is what, 5th or 6th turning for home. He doesn't stop per se, but never got close to threatening the top 2.
And he was really scrubbing on that horse there through the stretch. Now, they're going to add blinkers this afternoon, what I think might help this horse. And we're talking about Cutting Humor. Let's show you stat when this race ends. And, yeah, you'll see the horse crossing the wire there. Cutting Humor, Todd Pletcher, 2-year-olds, first-time blinkers. Straight out, he's 17 for 67, 25%, 55% in the money, and $1.68 is the return of investment. And I think this horse, by just looking at that replay that you pulled, needs blinkers. That's what I got out of that. So this one might run, but I couldn't leave identifier off the ticket. Now, you used a great word here when you were talking about this race, defections. These people ran away. They saw who was in this race. I think a lot of them said, I'm going to run another day. Now, I'm only guessing that part.
Right.
But identifier debuts locally for Navarro. After setting the pace, he finished 2nd. It's 1-mile career debut at Parks. We mentioned the speed on this main track throughout the last week, so that's why I added it to the ticket. But the race goes through Cutting Humor.
Now, John Service, who coincidentally defeated the 8 identifier up at Parks with Lucky Lee, has got a firster in the race, caught by Kitten's Joy out of a Broken Vow Dam. Ultimately, you get a sense, or at least I got a sense, that turf might be in the future of Surf and Turf, the number 5. But boy, this is a horse who breezed pretty solidly at OBS April, back in April, breezing a furlong in 10-2. And I do like the fact not only is John Service having a bang-up year and coming off his first ever Breeders' Cup win already 2 weeks ago, 15 days ago with Jaywalk and the Juvenile Fillies, you've got a horse who has Paco and was pinhooked after not selling as a yearling for just $35,000. 2 1/4, though, back in April. I think that's a good sign.
Yeah, and you know, Jason usually spots him where he thinks they can have it. I mean, John, excuse me. So he looks like he's got this horse spotted. Maybe he wants to get a race into him before he puts him on the turf. But I would not be shocked, especially with Paco in the saddle, that this horse may spring the upset in that race over these 2, well, I'll call them heavy heads.
Yeah, no doubt. You got Navarro and Pletcher with the good experience, and then John Service, who may have another 2-year-old runner in the barn to join Jaywalk. Let's move on to the 8th race this afternoon as we cut back to 1 turn here on the main track. Just a 10-race card, so our final pick 3 on this day 35 of the meet begins with the 8th, a 3-lifetime 6250 claimer. Had a feeling you and I would definitely, if we didn't have, say, the Ice Cold Try or Super, we basically have a 3-9-9-3 all the way. And man, I got to tell you, I'm thinking if I'm Victor Barboza Jr. when this race came out and I'm looking at the PPs, I quite simply have got to love where I am against a field like this with the 9 Pokerus.
6-1 1 on the morning line, this horse. So I put it on top, and I thought I'd get a little bit of a price. I mean, I hope we do. Debuting locally. First start since filing his 2 lifetime victory on a sloppy main track with a 3rd-place finish at this level and distance. He's good with this type of layoff. Victor Barboza Jr. is 26% or bet. He's good with every stat you actually put up there. Let's show you that one. A layoff of 31 to 60 days. These are low-level claimers, sprints in the dirt. He's 8 for 31, like I said. He's 26%, 58% in the money. $1.43 is the return of investment. So Pokerist right on my ticket along with Giant Dilemma in second.
I'll take the under on 6-1, my friend. 3 Giant Dilemma, the main danger in our eyes there, as Pokerist comes in off a little bit of a freshening for Top Connections, who picked up their 6th consecutive win yesterday with Grand Mal back. How cool was he?
Unbelievable, you know, and they came from off the pace, so the horse is versatile. You usually think he's going to be somewhere on the lead. That's not the way race played out. Somebody went to the lead to try and steal a race. He sat there, got it done, and I like the connections in the winner's circle after the race, just all hugging and kissing on Grand Malbec.
Lots of TLC, these horses. They make everything possible, and they give us everything as well. As we move back to the turf, in fact, this will go race number 9, aside from that 2-year-old maiden cast in the 7th. For the 3 and up types, this is the featured spotlight on this Saturday afternoon. It's a 5-furlong filly and mare, Florida bred, allowance optional claimer. We will take a trip, and a rare trip for us, up to Penn National back in late August, and we'll check out the last out victory for the 7, Band of Angels. It's a very impressive effort visually. She was basically mildly scrubbed on around the far turn, and I mean had her feet beneath her every step of the way, and never ever at 1 to 5 faced a serious challenger. How does she run here, running against what I think will be a tougher field? And what happens potentially, Ronnie, if she's hooked by, say, the 3 Cats Astray or even the 4 Dalonega, who do have some good speed to maybe take a run at Band of Angels early on?
Well, my thought process was she was this, excuse me, the speed in this race. And, you know, she loves 5 furlongs. She's 3 for 4 in the win column on the turf, and that was her 2nd consecutive victory. So Band of Angels on top of my ticket. But you're absolutely right with Taylor's in orbit, who does her best running from off the pace. She sits in the catbird seat today, has a good chance to improve in that recent pair of 2nd-place finishes. So she needs that pace to get over the hump, and I think she might get it today.
And gets away from Fallen Leaf. I'm going into this saying she's going to get a good setup, and I don't believe anybody in their current form is as talented as Fallen Leaf has been off the claim for Rich Averill and Georgina Baxter. We got to give a quick pop because her last race in late August came up so fast and she ran so well. What's the deal with the 4 Dalonega, who, when it comes down to it, I've got her 3rd. There's a big chunk of me, and I'm always rooting for the smaller mom-and-pop stables. I kind of want to see one out of her off the claim in that layoff.
Yeah, that race you were alluding to got 86 buyers.
Came up fast.
Yeah, it was considerable speed in there. She's going to the lead here, and that's the chance that I mentioned. Monty Brisley, a nice guy, trying to get off the duck this afternoon, so we'll see if that happens with the Navor Dalonega. Nice claim by him.
We'll see. Well, let's move on to race number 10 as we drop the curtain here on this 35th day of racing this autumn at GPW. Saturday's nightcap, again, no shortage of contenders or horses here. These 2-year-old $25,000 maiden claimers on the dirt. I'm going to take the number 6, Guerin, who might just quite simply appreciate turning back in distance. Off to not great, but not awful recent 3rd-place finishers for one of my favorite trainers on the circuit, and Armando de la Cerda. A very flimsy, slight nod there to Guerin there from the middle of the pack.
And I saw on Facebook the jockey J.J. Gonzalez became a naturalized citizen yesterday. So
cool.
Congratulations to him. He had the old hand up.
Cool.
Saw it on Facebook, so congratulations to him. But I did go with Valen Appeal, who's returning to the maiden claiming ranks after following a 3rd-place finish in his $50,000 career debut. Comes back, he stalks, he fades, going 7 furlongs against maiden special weight competitions. Dave Brad, he's going to add blinkers. Class drop, turn back, blinkers. Bam, there's your winner.
All right, Miguel Vasquez, I like the confidence. We'll see if it's that easy there for Valiant Appeal with Miguel V., who has 23 wins here at the meet and counting, and is one of the top guys around here who quietly just seems to do a great job day in and day out and still boots home good prices, especially on the turf. And turf is where it's at for the opening round and opening race on this 10-race affair. As we take a little time out, Ronnie and myself will be with you all day long from our clubhouse studios here at GPW. And how about a little Jason Beam? How does that sound for those scratches and changes?
He's doing a great job. Turn it over to Jason, please.
One of the world's most anticipated thoroughbred racing events of the year returns. The third annual Pegasus World Cup Invitational at Gulfstream Park in South Florida. Drawing competition from around the world with a $16 million purse split between 2 Grade 1 races. On the dirt and on the turf. Experience the incredible fashion, spectacular world-class service and entertainment, and the unrivaled adrenaline of the Pegasus World Cup Invitational. Saturday, January 26th at Gulfstream Park. Get your tickets now at PegasusWorldCup.com.